Thanks.
Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes!
Alison and I, together with Rob and Iris, we welcome you all to this very special day. And we trust that you're having a great evening. It's terrific to see you all here, all dressed up to celebrate and to party. Many of you have travelled some distance to be here with us today, and I want you to know that your efforts to be here are very much appreciated. County Down is one of the most hospitable and beautiful parts of the UK. The mountains of Mourne really do sweep down to the sea. But if this is your first visit, do be aware there is potential for confusion with local terminology. Messages can be lost in translation. For example, at the bar tonight, if you were offered a Norwegian, don't be alarmed, it's local for another Norwegian. On this red letter day for Neil and Kate, it's great that so many of their old school friends are able to be here. In alphabetical order from the Morris Convent. That's Kate's club. And from Uppingham. That's Neil's club. And from Wellington. That's Kate's club again. Very good to see you all. Now, Annie and I would like to thank the Reverend Marie Walsh for conducting the marriage. The service, of course, is the reason why we are all here. It's the heart and soul of the day. Yes. And Marie, you have made the service personal, meaningful and memorable for us all. We are deeply grateful for this and for your very willing help and advice during the last few months, in circumstances which have not always been easy for you. It is hugely appreciated. Our thanks also go to the Reverend Ian Ellis, to the organist, to the choir, and to the friends of the choir. And indeed to all the St. John's. May I also say that Ali and I have greatly enjoyed our increased contacts with Rob and Iris, Neil's parents, in recent months. It's been good.
It's been good.
I'd like to use this opportunity to thank them for their generous contribution to the party tonight. I see that Neil has two best men tonight. I'm told this is quite common nowadays. How did I cope with just one? An old chum, personable and sociable, there's no doubt, but one of the least practical of men. He didn't even drive then. I had to get him to the church on. But we bumbled through. Life was a lot simpler then. Sadly, Brian and Ruth cannot be with us today. There's a family wedding in Spain, but they are well represented by a shoal of enthusiastic young turtles. Today, actually it was delivered by hand. It was from Brian and Ruth. In verse. So I feel bound to read. They seem to have pretensions as poets. Whether they have any justification of this, I leave it to you to judge. But I shall read it to you, and it's not my production. Here we go. It's entitled In Memoria, Katie Jones, Salve, Kate Soers. So a bit of Latin to begin with. A bit of Boris Johnson. Verse 1. Oh, where is that girl in a Donegal van wandering about, who so willingly answered the call of Katie out? Sent to the nuns at Stella Maris for punishing, and thence to Wellington College for finishing. Now in Newcastle, the prettiest bride brings home her needle with obvious pride. I have to say the phrasing.
Oh, there's a lot more.
I'll have to work on it. We are now on verse 2. Behold her parents bearing up under the cost of providing drink and an outstanding repast. The sale of the chateau in Languedoc was thought eccentric, especially to purchase in Portneuf a Willoughby Stetting. That's awful. But Nick and Annie were judging correctly the current recession, just as well considering their guests' gargantuan consumption. We sold the house and bought a Willoughby Westmorland in Portland. Well done. Now, you'll probably be pleased to know that this is the last verse. And what the groom, well chosen by the bride, who sports his Trilby Tour hat with so much pride. Remember, even if your father-in-law is 6'5", he was punched in the throat by Willie John McGinn. He was never an Olympian like you, so carry the most important torch with pride, the one for Katie, your new beautiful bride. May the sun always be at your backs. That's enough from Ruth and I, the hacks. Oh, I love the turtle.
Hey!
I think those three verses owe more to Pam Ayres than Seamus Heaney. I certainly had to work quite hard on the phrasing, but the A-B rhyming was really quite sophisticated. All in all, a very good effort. So then, through to the next round. I'd like to say a word or two about Neil, our son-in-law. Neil, it seems odd to welcome you to the family circle, which of course I do believe in. But it's just that you seem to have been part of our lives now for quite a while.
He hangs about.
11 years cannot be regarded as a whirlwind romance. We first met Neil all those years ago at our home in the Picton, that was in Wellington. I remember it clearly. Alison had just returned, exhausted from a day out with those master shoppers. Gillian Ray, Gillian, and Joyce Wilson. When Kate breezed in with a friend from university, he was introduced to us as host, and we had a very cheerful evening, as you tend to do whenever these two are around. My initial thoughts of Hovis that evening, well, I thought he seems a likeable and an interesting young man. He's cheerful. He's certainly not short of confidence. He's very keen on his gravy. He has plans for the future and clearly doesn't intend to drift through life. That's very good, I thought. But Hovis is a very odd name. And he supports Swindon Town Football Club with a passion which is frankly unsettling. That's very odd indeed. However, I thought that's Kate and Hovis, they seem to be comfortable with each other, and they clearly are very good friends, which is not a bad basis for a relationship. Will it last, I wonder? Well, Well, fast forward a few years, Neil was still around, and I began to realise that this lad has
We can't get rid of him.
this affair to run and run. A critical conversation took place about 6 years ago. Neil and I were having a chat about nothing in particular. I didn't actually use the words, Hovis, what are your intentions? But I was aware that the question that was hovering there, unspoken, said, Neil, Mr. J. Now, he called me Mr. J in those days. And he still does when he has something important to say. Two of the most important things in life to me are, one, Kate Jones.
I love you, Mr. Jones.
And two, Port New.
Is he coming out there?
Over the years, Neil and I certainly caught the Port New, the Donegal Park. I perked up, I thought, Kate Jones and Port New. This is a win-win as far as I'm concerned. This is a guy after my own heart. Time passed. Actually, years passed. No developments at all. They certainly weren't rushing things. They were just inseparable. July 2011, I read on Kate's Facebook page that she was now in a relationship. Things were heating up. We were on holiday in Donegal. Would Neil make a move this year? Would it be in Nancy's bar? In keeping with tradition. After golf, at a lunchtime session of Stoke, that's certainly traditional, Neil drew me aside to ask for Kate's hand. All very formal and correct. I actually found it quite emotional. I still do, but then I'm often quite emotional after a game of golf with a win and a lunchtime session. The rest is history. Hovey, we love you, Neely. Now to Kate. Our youngest and our only daughter. To begin at the beginning. Kate was born when we lived and worked in Christ Hospital. Tate was it called? Right?
Christ Hospital.
It's not a medical hospital, by the way. It's a school in Sussex.
Brilliant.
Kate was a Sussex girl. We moved to Wellington when she was just 2. Now, why do I mention this? I mention this because when I think of Kate and her development, it's important to remember that until she left school and went to university, she grew up and lived always in boys' boarding houses, sharing her parents' attention with her 2 older brothers and 60 plus loud and demanding boys, all under the same roof. It wasn't a normal childhood, growing up in this male world, but it was character forming. Kate certainly developed into a child of character. She was a spirited child. As a child, Kate was an interesting mix. Now, so I've got to get this right. She was easygoing, but with a strong streak of independence. Gregarious and completely comfortable in her own company. Affectionate and loving, but also strong-willed and always ready to argue her case with passion, if not always with logic. I'm not sure that her two big brothers really knew what hit them when Kate arrived, and if I'm honest, nor did I. You see, I had always found Chris and Andrew relatively easy to do. If I asked them to do something, there'd be no fuss. They would say, "Okay, Dad," and they would do it. Or they would do it later, or possibly not at all. Everybody was happy. With Kate, it was really simple. No! Favorite word. Little heels would vigorously be dug in. Confrontation and tears, more often than not, could result. I quickly learned that it was much more effective and much more simple to leave these complex negotiations to her mother. And it still is. For her brothers, as children, growing up on the Wellington estate, the big game was dressing up in my army kit, going off with Henry the dog, building a camp, cooking over a fire, and playing soldiers. It was basically up in the random woods.
It's a lot more serious than that.
We're very close. But we knew that Kate had finally been accepted by her two big brothers when one day she was invited to join them for the game. Great excitement, she got herself calmed up, dressed up, off they went. Her mother and I thought this was a great bonding moment. When they looked back, a couple of hours later, we repeated now how they had gone. How did it go? Did you enjoy yourself? Well, and she sounded a bit flat. It was not like her at all. It was okay, but it wasn't much fun. They went off. They left me. They told me to stay there, look after the camp, cook the sausages. They went off to play. Life could be tough. Two big brothers. No wonder she preferred to collect those Barbie dolls. Sylvanian families. Action men. Ballet examples. I had to get the ballet example.
Where'd you get all that
Schooling at the Morris flew by. Happy days. Of Morris girls. The Morris was good for Kate, but we knew the time had come for her to move on from those caring but unworldly nuns. Late summer term, after those GCSE exams, the telephone rang. We were summoned by the headmistress to come and take your daughter home at once. She's been a very bad girl. We set off with heavy hearts. What could she have done? Kate could be high-spirited and impetuous, but she wasn't a bad girl. What could it be? Fags, at the very least. Drugs, alcohol, boys. Her crime? And it was for this that we had been summoned. She had been part of a playground fight with water, with friends, on the hottest part of the day, to celebrate the end of exams. I asked you.
Detention Friday, 3:30.
Right, see you then.
We took her home with some relief. Kate loved her 2 years in the sixth form of Wellington, and by and large, Wellington loved Kate. I say by and large. Her housemaster, the infamous Mr. Burns, never really worked her out. However, she flourished, she grew in confidence, she made lots of friends. One little illustration which says a lot about Kate. On one occasion, Mick Jagger, you remember Mick? Of the Stones, now Sir Mick Jagger, he visited Wellington. he was considering this book for one of his children.
This is true.
Kate passed. She didn't recognize, but only saw a
LJ, how's your speech going? Talk to us.
with a wrinkled but oddly familiar face. Most of us, I have no doubt, would have smiled and
There's the
waved.
Prince Andrew story.
Not Kate.
You've seen the Prince Andrew story?
She couldn't put a face to him, but she felt she must know him.
Sorry?
She bowed down. How are you?
Doesn't
Lovely
have a
to
clue,
see you.
but exactly.
Blank reaction. It was clearly an unsatisfactory conversation. Neither had a notion of the other. Where others might have retired hurt, Kate kept at it doggedly, looking for clues. Her last throw, she had done some part-time waitressing during the holidays at Wellington. She asked Sylvia, "Are you still working here in the kitchen?" I'm told he could have. To university in Bristol, I made more friends, including one Neil Robert Sawyer. To a decent degree in marketing, and then on to seek a fortune in London. In the world of PR and account management. It's a world I don't understand. But I'm told she's an actor.
That's you!
Now,
No, that's
somebody
your-
outside, I wonder if you can guess who this might be, just before I came in said, "I want to hear you blow, Mr. Jones." Or might that be Shorty? Anyway, the blow alarm is now flashing red. What's Kate today? Well, all of those early characteristics are still there. But the child has matured and blossomed into the beautiful young woman you see today.
Yeah.
Kate is determined, committed, and an enthusiast. She is cheerful, articulate, positive, and very funny. Laughter and fun are never far away when Kate is around. She's great company. As a child, Kate was honest almost to a fault. When Sister Daphne wanted to know exactly what had happened on the Morris coach, she sent for Kate. She is still well able to speak her mind forcefully, as and when necessary, but she now understands the value of discretion. Her judgment is sound. She has bags of wisdom and common sense. She is a very good listener. She is loyal, generous, and warm-hearted. In short, she has the very good sense. She has had the very good sense to inherit all her characteristics, her personality, and her character from her mother. I know I'm biased, but I think she's a very special girl. She's not special, of course. She's not perfect, of course. She doesn't make fudge like her mother. Hovers, I think you're a very fortunate young guy. But then, you do know that. Kate, over the years you have brought Ellie and I great joy. We've always been very proud of you, but never so much as today.
Yay!
Together you make a very impressive team. As someone said to me very recently, they're a pair of real characters. As you set forward with confidence on your shared life together, as we raise our glasses to you, we wish you every good fortune, contentment, health, success, and happiness. Can you please be on your feet, ladies and gentlemen? As we toast the bride and groom.
One and left. You can tell it better.
Well,
Oh mate, that's gutting. I hate that.
it's not the first time.
Well on that. Yeah, that was better.
Your video is
There's such a tribute of wonderful people, and these 3.5 minutes for the remaining 4 speakers. And the next of which is many things. He is the Prince of Pet Food, the Mars Magnate, the Baron of Barnsdale, but most of all, he's the father of the groom, Mr. Rob Sawyer.
Oh, you cheeky man.
Thank you, Kurt. This was clearly set up for somebody to be punched in the throat. Kate, Neil, family and friends. Iris and I would also like to thank you for being here for Kate and Neil, and hope you're having a very enjoyable time on this very, very special day. And many thanks to Ali and Nick for so generously hosting this wonderful occasion. So thank you. I have to say, we first met Ali and Nick several years ago, which won't come as any surprise since it's obviously taken a while for Neil and Kate to get round to today.
I think it was Neil.
Last October, Ali and Nick kindly invited us to County Down for the weekend, and we had a great time. The wind was blowing at about 50 miles an hour. So today has been an absolute blessing in terms of the weather, and I think we've been very lucky on that front. Whilst Ali, Kate and Iris went off to look at wedding things, Nick, Neil and I embarked on a round of golf at Royal County Down. Well, I have never played in worse weather.
Winter.
After 12 holes, we retired hurt. And retired to the splendid Royal County Down clubhouse. We had a few pints of Guinness, a very serious lunch,
Very brothers.
and the Berry Claret was served in ample volume, which set the tone for the day. Had a wonderful dinner, more fine wine, and the net result of this legendary Jones hospitality was that neither Nick nor I could remember very much about the wedding plans. However, I do remember one thing, that we were going to get along just fine. Nick and Ali, we look forward to returning the compliment, and we look forward to many more such fine occasions over the coming years. So thank you very much for all that you've done in us getting to know each other. So let me turn to our son Neil. Kate, I'm sure it's no surprise to you and to anyone that knows him, but from the day he was born, he has been running on high octane. Inherited from his mother, by the way. This was confirmed at the age of 6 months when he threw himself over the side of his cot. I don't think there's any. There's a bigger world out there.
Personally, high hurdle.
When I think back, I don't actually recall Neil walking anywhere very often. Running, skateboarding, cycling, kicking a ball, hitting a ball, absorbed almost all of his energy as a child. This was a godsend to Iris, because he was tired out by 6 o'clock every night and sound asleep by about 10 to 7.
Baby.
For me though, it was a big part of our father and son relationship. And that's been about the mutual love of sport. We've had marvellous times together. Competition's often been keen. Still is. But always great fun, Neil, and it's something I treasure. And I think it's been a big part of our life. Now, we lived in Leeds for about, 86 to 93, so 7 years. And I do remember he did occasionally sit still for 5 minutes at the Amstrad computer. Clearly a developing interest for the future. However, there was one other thing that was absolutely for sure. Books and Neil were like oil and water. In fact, he's only paid attention to 2 books in his whole life. The first was Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Brilliant book. So that was his mother.
Which from an early age,
That was Irish.
he seemed to think taught all he needed to know about life in general. I have to say, after a while, Iris and I didn't need to read it to him because we knew it off by heart. The second, and if he had been on Mastermind, this would have been his special subject, was the Argos catalogue.
That is so true.
He's being cute now.
This did not bode well. And parenting is quite interesting. So much so that while Iris was very happy to go along to Kira's parents' evenings on her own if I was away on business, for Neil's, I was given serious advance notice to clear the diary. The story was almost always very much the same. Your son is charming. First thing, evil person, clearly. He's Jack the Lad, or at least he thinks he is. He loves sport, so those were the positives. Be clear about that. And then it was, doesn't do any schoolwork and needs to pay attention. And I'll tell you, the all-time highlight was when we lived in Dublin. Was being told that he had received a lifetime ban from the computer room at the high school.
Still standing.
Still stand. You mean you tried to go back?
Clearly it was great preparation for a career in the IT industry. When we moved back to England, thanks in no small way to Uppingham School and to the great friends that he made there, and a bit of rapid growing up too, things turned out okay. And I can tell you, Neil, our faith in you never wavered. And of course it was all down to Fantastic Mr. Fox. But boy, were we glad to see the back of parents' evenings. The months following school were spent working as a commis chef in restaurants to save up for a long visit to Australia. And I think it was there that Neil first met some ex-students from Wellington College. I think he also got to know a sheep. as you do in Oz. But this was by trying to shear it. And after which I'm reliably told the sheep gave up and was apparently exhausted.
Come and get.
Please contemplate this. Please contemplate.
Move on.
Now, on returning from this adventure, I don't know whether Neil took the road to Damascus on the way to UWE, but he clearly loved the business and marketing course that he did. And suddenly, there was an ignition of a brand new academic work ethic. And it was not long after this that he met Kate in Bristol.
Hey.
The running continued, so I don't think he was slowing down any. And it was the end of Neil's first London Marathon in 2002 that we met Kate for the first time. And for anyone that didn't know before Nick made his speech, it did take a while for Neil to pop the question. And I remember, and Iris remembers, that she was holding a placard at the time which said, "Go, Hovis, go." Very motivational. And we had not heard this name, Hovis, but apparently this was some sort of nickname that was conjured up on a coach whilst in Australia, and had some sort of relation to the fact that we had lived in Yorkshire. So I vaguely understand where Hovis came from. Actually, Iris and I were struck immediately, Kate, by your warm, vivacious personality. And a little time later, Kate came down to Swindon to meet Mum and Dad, Grandma and Grampy. And there was an acid test here. Could she appreciate Dad's, Neil's, and my undying support for Swindon Town? So we took her to a match at the county ground. After the match, she said, "I looked at the three generations of you during the match. You all had the same expressions on your face at the same time, and you shook your heads in unison." Called synchronized misery. And I thought, yes! And you passed with flying colours.
Don't make me go back.
Of course, it would be a good few more years before Neil popped the question. So, Kate, as your dad said about Neil, it feels as though you've been part of the family for quite a while now. But now Iris and I can make it official and finally say, welcome to the family.
No.
You look absolutely gorgeous.
Yay!
So, after 11 years of getting to know each other, we figure that you two probably don't need any advice from us. But we want you to know you do have our support, our love, our blessing. And we offer you these wise words from an old Irish saying. May you always have walls for the wind, a roof for the rain, tea beside the fire, laughter to cheer you, those you love near you, and all that your hearts might desire. Good luck, good health, lots of happiness to you both. And ladies and gentlemen, I would like you to be upstanding also and drink to the bride and groom.
Bride and groom.
Here we go, Buffers.
Too late to go for a wee now.
Okay, that's fine. That was fantastic. Thank you so much. Great speech. Well done. You really held that together as well.
Oh yeah. Well said. Well, our next speaker is without a shadow of a doubt everybody's favourite boy, but he's also the superlative gentleman. He is Ovis the Boy Sawyer. Settle down, please. Can you all see me okay?
Stand up!
Hey, take my arm.
For the Ulsterman!
Can't stand any taller, so you'll just have to put up with this. I'll start first by saying my wife and I. Delighted to have you all make it here tonight. It is really very warming to have so many friends and family here with us. And for that matter, more than 50% of people travelling across at least one stretch of
We want a pie chart at least.
Some have travelled from even further afield, from different continents for that matter, just to be here. And both Kate and I are truly grateful and a little bit humbled by all of those that have made such a That wasn't even that funny. So.
If you like that, you'll love the next one.
I'll start my speech unconventionally with a little bit about the three men stood with me today. In true and conventional style, my two best men in Mark and LJ, who know me like the back of their hands, and you know what, have never shirked in their responsibility to give me the back of their hands when I've stood out of line. And to Fergus, the head groomsman, the MC, who's been the provider of some of the most memorable times as friends since we were 15, 16. I'm sure you'll hear just about a few of those stories in just a few minutes' time. It is genuinely once in a lifetime opportunity to stand up here today in front of all of our family and of course our closest friends and acknowledge the help and support that so many have given to Kate and I. And yes, okay, after 11 years of courting, there's quite a list to get through, and yet I'm sorry if I leave anybody out. Those 11 years might go some way to explaining the rather long list of ushers, best men, bridesmaids, flower girls, etc., that you might have spotted earlier on. All of whom are looking absolutely stunning today. Sorry, boys. I speak on behalf of Kate and I, and we can honestly say that this little entourage is not excessive, but a true representation of the strength and stability that underpins our relationship. And for that, we are truly thankful.
Okay, you shouldn't laugh at that.
From the young, free and easy days of school through to the halcyon times that I shared in Australia, through to our time together in Bristol, I'm truly grateful for the stability and support that you guys have given to us. I'm
I'm convinced that if it wasn't for this little bit of support, I was about to say I'd be still trawling Match.com. I've never been. I would still be on Match.com, and of course the lonely half pages of the Telegraph to find Miss Wright.
Telegraph is conservative, right?
I've never read the Telegraph. It's a crap line, move on. Fortunately, I found Miss Wright on my first night. My first night in Bristol, and to be honest with you, I didn't have to look very far. But a little more than about that in just a minute's time. There is also a certain element of luck in this little chance encounter. I just so happened to go to school with a number of great people. Mark, Fergus, AJ, Vinny, Sophie, Ewan, to name a few here tonight. I then just so happened to go to Australia, as you heard earlier, at the age of 18 with AJ, to grow up. That was the most important bit.
What happened?
And once we got over the fact that we missed our mums so much, and plucked up the courage to leave our squat in King's Cross in Sydney, and board a bus northbound, we just so happened to meet a group of apparently like-minded people doing the same 3 months journey. This chance encounter in Australia was critical, in fact, to how Kate and I met, because weirdly, at that same time, a group of people just so happened to be going to study in Bristol the following year. In fact, Henry, where's Henry? There he is. Henry, who has just sat over here, is really the key to Kate and I meeting on that fateful first night. And that's probably the first and last time I ever trekked up to our campus to go for a drink on a Sunday in our student union bar. And on that very night, I was introduced to the wonderful Kate. The reason why I say that is, strangely enough, that chance encounter and first introduction will mark its 12th anniversary tomorrow. Something, I'll be honest, we only thought about the other night when talking. So a number of chances. So a number of chance encounters, one after the other, on opposite sides of the world, on specific days, and on to study in a specific city. I finally met who I think is one of the most wonderful and the most friendliest people alive. The person I'm proud to call from today and forevermore, my wife, Kate Jones!
Not Kate Sawyer. No, Kate. Not Kate Sawyer. We know that. It's always that.
Kate Jones.
All right, settle down. Her infectious smile and her ability to find common ground with absolutely everybody is not a skill. It's not something you can actually work on. It just comes naturally. Naturally that she is kind, genuine.
But not from you.
To the point where I know the fear that Kate feels if she's not like this. And yes, it takes me quite some time to calm her down from that feeling, often after many bottles of wine and everything else that comes with it. This, amongst a million other things, is the reason why I love Kate with all my heart. And after 11 of the best years of my life, I look forward to spending the rest of our lives together. Thinking you haven't had enough exercise yet, I would like to be upstanding and raise a glass to Kate and friendship.
Friendship.
Good on friendship.
He hasn't done.
Not finished yet. Settle down.
Kate puts up with a lot, especially with my work. She's extremely tolerant of me and my partner in crime, Graham, my great friend, who is also my boss for that matter, who I regard as one of my closest friends, and we're both so thankful to you and also to Laura for the opportunity